Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's discussion on our Cozy Christmas Book Club. This is, again, we're looking at, there we go, Christmas by the Book by Anne Marie Ryan. We're covering today chapters 15 through 21. So we're just got over the halfway mark, and then next week we'll finish up with chapters 22 through 26. And again, just a couple of quick thoughts on this, as well as some questions from the discussion questions printed in the book itself, which I've really appreciated those. And I'm looking at them and trying not to ask any questions that are spoiler related. But in this section, we really get into kind of the almost the climax of the story, where the Christmas party begins. We see the people gathering together that have been impacted by the books that have been sent out. And we kind of see what and how those stories have made an impact in people's lives. So you'll probably find out, especially in this section, what it is that I love or why I love this book so much. And really it comes down to simply, not only is it Christmassy and full of Christmas magic and a beautiful Christmas message, but it also shows the importance and the impact a story can have on a person's life. So we find out that Nora had arranged for the sale of the shop, and the real estate agent is quite gleeful over that. But both Simon and Nora are feeling pretty bummed about it. I mean, this is their lifelong dream. This is their partnership. This is what they do together as a married couple, and now it's going to be gone. And, unfortunately, we have seen this happen quite too frequently, where small businesses and privately owned businesses get run out of business, and, the bigger corporations come in and just kind of steal all the business. It's that thing where, somebody can mass produce something so they can provide more at a cheaper rate as than compared to what a locally owned store could provide. But then that gets into a whole discussion on capitalism and what's appropriate and what's not. And I don't know if we need to go into all that today. So last week I mentioned one of my favorite characters in this, or one of the characters I found the most intriguing, was David Langdon, the MP, and his journey with depression, and coming to realize I have a serious problem. That he has lived his life so intensely and so on the edge, and that he just allowed now depression, or depression has come in and has really taken a hold on his life, where he almost takes his own life. But fortunately, Simon was able to say the right thing at the right time, and then David got this book, The Greatest Gift, which is the story of It's a Wonderful Life. And I haven't read that story yet, but I actually just ordered it on Amazon. It's a short story, but they sell it in like bound up as a book. So I went ahead and ordered that because I haven't read that yet, and I thought that might be worth reading. So we find out that David's life has been changed by the book. He's realized that life is precious, and the gift that he has of life is important. So he finally makes the decisions to go and get the help that he needs. Olwyn, one of Nora's friends, she talks about the book she received. It was a Sherlock Holmes mystery, and that's a story I'll probably be reading on the podcast here coming up soon. But it inspires her. I believe she was the retired teacher, and it inspires her to start writing her own mystery novel. And then Nora and Simon keep trying to get a hold of their daughter Charlotte, but she hasn't been answering. She's traveling. They're worried for her, and I love how that plot thread it's just kind of subtly there in the background, and it's going to you have to wait till the next week reading to really see any resolution there. We follow some of Sam's storyline, where she has read A Christmas Carol and realizes, oh no, I'm kind of a Scrooge, and am I really like that? She's able to see herself from the outside, and sometimes stories can do that for us. That we can see ourselves in the characters. I think this is why representation matters. because then we see ourselves and we can see, boy, I need to change, or maybe I don't, or maybe it gives me wisdom about the situation I'm in, things like that. Sam, we find out, really wants to meet someone, and it turns out that she's just been far too busy working and hasn't really given over time for life and the things that matter in life. We get the storyline also of Harry and how his the young boy who lost his sister, and he had kind of a meltdown, but his teacher, Miss Powell, was able to really make a connection with him, which well, the retired teacher, and this is what I love about teachers. Maybe you've had one in your life who's able to connect with you and helped you over a hurdle in your life, or some kind of a trial or something, or taught you the value of stories, of writing, of, some way helped you. And I hope you've experienced that, because, I believe teachers are woefully underpaid and deserve all the credit and help that we can give them. And, Harry wrestles in his sorrow, and it's not like this book magically fixes everything. In fact, he still doesn't want to read it, but it provides a gateway to the author, C.S. Lewis. She recommends him a book, that talks about C.S. Lewis's struggle with grief, and it's a very good book to read if you're struggling with those kinds of feelings. But again, this is where I really appreciate Harry's storyline. It's not like everything's magically fixed and Harry's all better. But he's given the tools in the community to help him begin to heal, if you can ever really fully heal from such a situation like that. But he realizes, I need to reach out to my parents. His teacher helps him remember that they're hurting too. So and that's really just a summary of the chapters there. I mean, there's a few other storylines, but those are the ones I wanted to mention. A couple of comments that came in here. Let me read that one again from Don. He said that the characters that he found most interesting, that was one of the questions I asked last week. Which characters do you find interesting? At this point, in chapters 8 through 14 anyway, he found Nora and Simon, especially their relationship and the dynamics of their marriage, and that yes, they were keeping secrets from each other, but they had the right reasons and they were doing it out of love. And I get that, definitely. And you can see, he said, you can clearly see their devotion to one another as they commit to weathering this storm together, and the chemistry they share as they hatch the plan for spreading Christmas magic. And I absolutely agree on that. Just, it's so fun to see them like plotting together and working together as a team. I love the fact that, again, and I know I commented on it. I might have mentioned in the video as well, but I love their marriage. The fact that they're written and portrayed as loving each other. The husband's not written like a incapable goof, and and his wife Nora isn't written like a caricature of a nagging wife or anything. They are happily married, comfortable with each other, and they really are looking out for each other as much as their bookstore, their daughter, the community, all that. It's a really, I think, beautiful portrayal of marriage. And then Jeffrey wrote that in a world where I didn't need my choice to change someone's life, as far as books go. And I suppose I did kind of ask a pretty heavy question. He said, I would substitute at least one of those not so Christmassy selections with Washington Irving's Old Christmas. Talking about the book selections that the story in the bookstore sent out. He said, it and A Christmas Carol are a yearly reading tradition for me. Now, I know I read Old Christmas. It might have been a few years ago, but I need to revisit that one, which I know I'm hoping to do on the podcast here coming up. I want that's one of the stories on my list of stories to read, because it's really charming, very atmospheric, and I would definitely would change out. See which one I would probably change out the Shakespeare one for Old Christmas, or maybe the Sherlock Holmes one for that. Those are the two, especially that I think don't, if I was thinking of sending out Christmas stories, I don't know if I would pick those two. That's what you would, what you would do in that case. But let's talk about some of the questions here. So this week's question, one is, at its heart, Christmas by the Book is a story about how books can bring us hope. How do the book deliveries connect with the recipients, and what books have brought you comfort? And this is where some of that Christmas magic comes to play, that each book found the right person. And the odds of that happening are probably astronomical, but this is a story and it's taking place at Christmas. So there is a little bit of Christmas magic afoot, and we'll see how that plays out for the end of the story. But for now, each book was exactly what the reader needed, or, I'm thinking of young Harry's case, maybe didn't want, but it was used to be able to help him face some of the pain that he was dealing with. And books can certainly do that. So, I was thinking about, when I asked the question, what books would you send to someone, books that have changed your life, or books that would change that person's life? And maybe that is kind of a tall order. There's a book channel on YouTube that I watch. She ends every video saying something along the lines of that to remind her viewers that the right book in the right hands at the right time can change the world. And I think there's a lot of truth in that any book you send someone, it could be a favorite, it could be maybe not your favorite, but you hand it off to somebody else that you think maybe they will enjoy this. And that book can change their life, and then their life can change the world. And that's the power of stories. These books we hold in our hands are a powerful weapon for good or for evil. And this is, I think, one thing that happens when, you get into dictators and fascist leadership, all the things that we're hearing about in the news right now, why they want to control what people read, what people can say, what people put in print, is because they know the power of the written word. And if they can control the story, if they can control the narrative, then they have power. And I think that's one reason why when societies begin to crumble, that's a common theme you see, is that there's a suppression of reading. There's a suppression of discussion, of intelligent, calm discussion, because our words have power. All right. Well, I really got to wrap it up. I've been hoping to keep these short, and I just want to keep talking. But let me know what you thought of this section. What are some of your favorite parts? And stay tuned. The next video will be out on Friday, right after the day after Thanksgiving. I've got a brand new podcast episode that just dropped yesterday. And then I have 2 more I'm hoping will come out Thanksgiving week. So a real busy week ahead. I'm hoping to get it all done this weekend so I don't have to deal with it. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. Join us over on the Cozy Christmas Book Club page on Facebook, and links are in the show notes. So when I talk to you again, it'll be after Thanksgiving and officially in the Christmas season. Until then, Merry Christmas.